Hello and welcome to the first Digidave Does the News video thingamabob. I wanted to talk about Chi-Town Daily News, probably one of the two bigger interesting things this week. The other one being Google throws their hat at micropayments and online journalism online, says it's going to charge 20%. But Chi-Town Daily News shuts down this week and causes a big little uproar. First off, Jeff Doherty, who runs Chi-Town Daily News, I met him a couple times. I think he's an absolutely fantastic guy. Puts a smile on my face. So my instant reaction is that I'm bummed that the nonprofit news mafia loses a soldier. That's right, claiming it, nonprofit news mafia. You got greats like MinPost, Voice of San Diego, and we lost a soldier. Chi-Town Daily News leaving the nonprofit news mafia, but that's okay. I'm wishing Jeff the best in the new venture. But I think it brings up a couple things. One is this idea of a newsroom. Newsrooms are incredibly expensive. I don't shy away from the fact that Spot Us is run out of my apartment. That's right. I like to claim I'm part of the nonprofit news mafia, but really I'm like a weird subset of it because Spot Us can be used by any news organization. Right now, just in the Bay Area, but if we were in multiple cities, we could be used by MinPost or Voice of San Diego, etc., etc. So we have a really streamlined budget, but the idea is that we add to other people's budgets. But I think there's still this problem of, okay, well, how do you strip a news organization's budget down completely? Interestingly enough, Chi-Town Daily News, one thing that they pioneered was the citizen journalism thing, right? They had a whole sort of volunteer core, but that doesn't necessarily bring down your costs because you still need a place for everybody to meet in, and you need a volunteer coordinator, right? That's something that Chi-Town Daily News probably pioneered was the volunteer coordinator. And folks like the Public Press here in San Francisco have the same thing. I love going to visit the Public Press. And I find it really interesting and fascinating that they have this clubhouse. They call it like a clubhouse. But that requires its own overhead, right? Both the clubhouse and managing that. I think there's also something interesting to be said about transparency. If I were to knock Chi-Town Daily News on anything, it would be the transparency, that this seemingly came out of nowhere. Then again, when you look at some of the moves that were made recently, it makes sense. I know a couple months ago they released a feature where at the end of every article they would show you how much it kind of cost to produce that article. I thought that was a great move too. That's the kind of transparency that I think journalism needs is, here's what goes into the process. This article cost, took this many hours and then roughly cost this much money. And I thought that was a brilliant fundraising move. Maybe not enough, obviously, because as Jeff pointed out, they need I think it was between 1 and 2 million a year to run, and that requires a lot. And it makes sense that foundations can't just keep taking up that buck, right? I mean, both Chi-Town Daily News, Voice of San Diego, MinPost, Spot Us, and a lot of others have benefited from foundations, Knight Foundation or other foundations, sort of giving startup money. But it makes sense that these organizations can't, keep going on and on and on forever. If anything, it seems like their mission right now is not to fund journalism, but to fund startups that will figure out what journalism will look like, or how to be sustainable. And again, that's why, at least for Spot Us, I'm sort of putting my chips on the side of, okay, keep a really small network, a low overhead, build technology that will scale up that other people can use. We're really going to be, I think more and more we're becoming a service organization, not a news organization, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about Chi-Town Daily News. Interestingly enough, there was one sort of, I don't want to call it snark, but there was one sort of post that was calling out Chi-Town Daily News. But interestingly enough, it was from Chicago Now, which I don't know much about Chicago Now. I know one of the guys that works there, an old friend from my dig days, M. Salim. But I imagine Chicago Now doesn't really pay writers that much, and so you had an ex-Chi-Town Daily News writer, sort of blasting Chi-Town Daily News on Chicago Now. I don't know if that's because Chicago Now is sort of an up-and-coming rival to what Chi-Town Daily News was, or what the beef is there, but it was just sort of interesting. And again, I don't think it's to knock Jeff, because Jeff is a really good guy from my interactions with him. But it is interesting to at least acknowledge and admit that, all organizations in some respect are a reflection of their founder, which is something that I myself don't really know how to come to grips with. What does that mean? Like, Spotus is somehow a reflection of the founder, and the work environment is a reflection of the founder, and everything, I guess, is a reflection of the founder, and that's for better or for worse, and that could be said for all news organizations. And again, I think there's a cultural revolution in news, and there are people on different sides of that cultural revolution, and that's why you have sort of different new and old news organizations. And again, I'm not one of those old media versus new media folk, but I do think that is something that we should keep in mind as we're looking at both new news organizations as they start and fail, and old organizations as they continue or fail. That they are a reflection of the founders, but there's a generation changes that are happening. There's technical virtuosity changes. There's a lot of different changes going on, and so these organizations are going to reflect that. I guess that's it for my rant of the day. This is really just something new that I wanted to try. Instead of writing out a blog post, just talk for, I don't know how long I talked for, I hope not too long, but I hope everyone has a good weekend, and let me know what you think of this. Was this a shitty blog post? Should I have said shitty right now? Or was it a good blog post? You let me know. Alright, bye-bye.